anyone, there we go, who wasn't able, me too, I'm happy too. I'm happy fall's coming. It's one of my favorite seasons. I'm going to record this for anyone who wasn't able to make it today. Today is September 15th, and this is math class. And now I'm going to share my screen with you. If at any time, boys and girls, you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself. And I'm also going to be asking you guys some questions as we go through this. So are you able to see my anchor chart that I have in front of me? It says place value at the top. Everyone's good? Give me a thumbs up. Great. Okay, so now I do want you guys to participate and help me out with some of these new words. They might be new, they might be different. So we're going to talk about all the different ways to show a number. And that's what you practice with the videos on Khan Academy in the practice. So here we have a really big number. And in 4th grade, we do go up to millions, but we do not go past the smallest value, which is ones. So when you look at this number, we go with ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. What do you know about commas in a very big number? And you can just go ahead, if you know, you can go ahead and say it. Peyton, I think I saw your hand. What do you know about commas?
Well, they divide like all the thousands. You're not gonna want like your millions with your thousands, because millions are way more than regular thousands.
Right, they are. Do you know, how do you know where to put the commas? They help us to stay organized, but how do you know where they go? Does anyone know where the commas go? Go ahead, Sophia.
Every 3 every 3-digit thing.
So you always want to start with the smallest. So we go 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. And so it does also help to help us read numbers. When you have really big numbers, my suggestion is to chunk in between the commas. So if I was reading this number, I would, in my mind, almost put a little bracket here and just say what's in that chunk. So this would be 1, and then I know I have to say a place value word because I have a comma. So this would be 1 million. And then I'm going to chunk these 3 numbers. 086. Don't get yourself caught up in saying 0 hundred thousands and 8 10,000s. We just want to read 086. So how do I read the number 086? Anyone know? Who can read this part for me? Nina, why don't you try that? 086. How do I read that?
I don't really know.
Okay, so just look at this. What number is this right here? Don't think about anything else. Okay, let me ask one more question. Can you guys see your faces, or do you just see my anchor chart?
I only see you and your screen.
So can you see this number 4 right here on your screen? Okay, on mine, your faces are covering that, so I just want to make sure you guys can see. Okay, Nina, just look at these 3 numbers and ignore everything else. What number, read that number. Go ahead, Nina, read this number for me.
086.
But when you read a number, so you would ignore the 0. So read this number for me.
86.
86. And that's all you have to do here. So this would be 1 million, and then you read this as 86, but then this comma tells you there's a place value word there. Does anyone know what place value word comes next? Olivia? I think I read your lips. You want to unmute yourself so everyone can hear you?
1,000.
1,000. And then let's chunk this last part together. 934, Trace, how do I read the number 934?
934.
Very good. So then when we put it all together, it would be 1,086,934. So I know when the numbers get really big, sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. So that's why I like to break it down. So the next thing we're going to review are all the different ways that you could write a number. Now this switches the number, so I'm going to fold this so that you don't see the very top, so it doesn't confuse you. And now we're just going to look at these 4 ways to write a number. So right here we have standard form. Can someone read that number for me? 645, 124. Go ahead, Peyton.
645,124.
Very good. Now, if you look at standard form, if you had to explain to someone what is standard form, what would you tell them? Standard form is using what to show a number? Don't use the word number. Peyton, you have an idea?
Digits.
Excellent. So this is using digits to make a number. And this is hard to see. Okay, right here, I wrote digits. Maybe marker. Let's write it real big here. There you go. We have some digits there. Now, let's look here. What is base 10? You probably have been talking, using, learning about base 10 since kindergarten, maybe even first grade, maybe even kindergarten. What is base 10? Or what are base 10 blocks? I bet you you've probably been playing with them at recess, and maybe you didn't even know it was a math tool. What do you remember, Peyton, about base 10 blocks?
Base 10 blocks are a form of showing what the number is by blocks.
Right. So does anyone remember, Sophia, do you remember what any of the base 10 blocks are?
Yes.
Or any of the words that we use to describe them? What words do you remember about base 10 blocks? Like what does this represent right here? Do you know what that's called? It's a square.
I
What
don't.
block? Remember what block?
It's 100 or 1,000. I forget. 100.
It's 100. But do you remember what we call the 100?
No, I do not.
Anyone remember what we call the 100? Olivia?
A hundreds block.
It has a name though. It represents 100. That one's a flat. It's just a flat block. How about a 10? Do you remember what we call these? Right here we have a 10. Peyton?
Along.
Longs. So those represent 10. And then these little cubes are ones. So to represent the number 124, we have 100. And then 2 is in the tens place. So we have 2 tens. The 4 is in the ones. And then we have 4 ones. So these blocks right here represent the number 124. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense to you. Unmute yourself if you have a question about those. Okay, I'm going to move on to word form. Read this for me, Trace. What are those words?
645,124.
So Trace, when we're writing a number in word form, what are we using? Over here we use digits, words, or letters. Very good. So you're actually gonna, one thing that I like to do is I would say this number, read it to myself over and over again. So when I would say 645, 645, 600, and then I would start and I would write the words out. And then go back and I would read this and make sure it matches the digits that you're using. And then we have one more, expanded form. So when you hear that word expand, what's something that you can think of? What does that word mean that could help you remember what expanded form is? If something's expanding, what is it doing? Maybe like, do you remember when you were younger? I remember seeing this. They were like little things like this big, and then when you put it in water, it turned into a washcloth because it would expand. Did you ever see those? They usually have them at like fun party stores. So what would that mean, expand? Something's expanding, what's it doing? Olivia?
Stretching out long.
Trace, go ahead, honey, what'd you say?
Stretching out long.
Good, stretching it out, pulling it apart. So when you're using the expanded form, you're taking this number and you're pulling it apart by something very special. Right here we have the number 600,000. That's matching up with this 6. So who knows what do we break it up by when you're using expanded form? Go ahead, Peyton.
You're expanding it by columns.
Okay, but how do you know what number to put here? How do you know that this is the same as this? Like, how did this person know that they looked at this number and they knew that this 6 was the same as 600,000? Why isn't it just a plain number 6 over here? Go ahead, Sophia. What do you think?
Because the 6 is in the 10,000s. No, wait. Yeah. I think the 10,000s.
Not 10,000s.
100,000s digit.
100,000, very good. So it's based on its place value. So since this 6 is in the 100,000s place, it is a 6, but it's not worth 6. It's worth 600,000. And then we move over to the 4. What place value is this 4 in, Peyton? What place value is the 4 in? This is 100,000s. What's the next place over? Good, Peyton.
10,000.
So since there's 4 of them, what's the value of this 4? Go ahead.
40,000.
40,000. Okay, Nina, I'm coming to you next. What place value is this 5 in?
It's in the 5,000. Well, in the thousand.
Okay, it's the thousands place. There's 5 of them, so what's its value?
5,000.
Very good. Here's your 5,000. Trace, I'm coming to you next for the 1. What place is that 1 in?
Hundreds.
And there's 1 of them, so what's its value?
100.
Yep, you got it. Olivia, you're next. This 2 is what place value?
In the tens.
And there's 2 of them, so what's it worth?
20.
And I'll do the last one. This 4 is in the 1's place, and there's 4 of them, so it's going to be worth 4. So this number sentence here, if I would add 600,000 plus 40,000 plus 5,000 plus 100 plus 20 plus 4, what should my final number be? What should my sum be if I add all of these up? Peyton?
645,124.
Very good. And that should match this number. And if it doesn't, then that's how we know we did something wrong. Okay, so there's a review on place value. Is there anything on this anchor chart that you're having questions with or not sure about? I couldn't get, for some reason, this exact anchor chart on Schoology, but I put an example of one on there just in case you need it for a reference, okay? Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do together is this is going to be your guided instruction set. And this was on Schoology, so you might have done this. If you did it and you would like to check it with us, that's great. And if you have any questions, feel free to stop and ask. If you have one of these that you can write on, get that out. And if you don't have access to writing this, you can just, participate and do it with us now, okay? Everyone good so far? Give me 2 thumbs up if you're good with me. Nina, you good? All right, and I see Olivia, you have your paper already, right? Okay. Okay, so we're going to use the place value chart to help us think about the value of each digit. So here we have 25049, and I wrote that number here. What form did I write the number in? Think back to my anchor chart. Is this expanded, word form, standard form, or base 10 form? Nina, right? When I use digits, what form is that? Here's my anchor chart if you need to look, Nina. Can anyone help her out? What form is this number written in?
Standard form.
You got it. We're using digits. Trey, since you have yourself unmuted, can you try reading this big number for us?
25,049.
Very good. Just don't let that zero scare you. It's just there for a place value holder, 25,049. At your house, I want you to practice reading that to yourself. 1, 2, 3, go. 25,049. Okay, so number 2, we're going to write the number in expanded form. Sophia, you want to try this one for us? We're going to take this number and we're going to break it apart by each place value. So what would this 25,049 be? How would I write that in expanded form? Let's start with the 2.
20,000 plus 5,000 plus 40 plus 9.
Very good. Sophia, why did you leave out? Why this is so. Whoop. There we go. Why did you leave out the 0? You didn't put plus 0 anywhere. Why is that?
Because the 0 isn't really isn't really needed, but
You don't need it. Very good. We don't need to add it. It is important because we have to forget that there's hundreds, but there just aren't any. If we got rid of that, our number would go just into the thousands place instead of 10,000s. But you don't need to include it when you're adding. Okay, who thinks that they could tell me how to write this in word form? And I want you to try spelling for me. I know some numbers are really hard to spell, so I'll help you. But just try your best. Anyone want to try?
25.
Okay, Trace, spell that for me.
You spell it.
TWENTY.
Very good. So we have 25. 25 what, Trace?
FIVE.
Okay.
Good.
What?
THOUSAND.
Very good. Okay, so we have 25,000 and we are going to put a comma there because there's a comma in the number. Does anyone want to do the second half since Trace started us off? 25,000. How would we finish this number? Go ahead, Peyton.
FOUR.
This one's 4 is spelled FOUR, but 40 is FORT.
FORT.
Uh-huh.
Dash. Which is it? TANINE. 9.
Good. Now go ahead and let's read this together. 25,049. Does that match our number up here in standard form? So we're good to go. Okay, let's have Olivia. Number 4, what digit is in the thousands place?
Five.
How did you know that, Olivia? What did you use?
I used the place value chart.
Yeah, you use the chart right here, and it's laid out pretty nicely for you. Nina, let's go ahead and try number 5. What is the value of the digit in the thousands place? So we know that the 5 is in the thousands place, but we want to know what it's worth.
It's worth 5,000.
Very good. And boys and girls, a little trick to help you. Any question that asks you the value, you just go to the place that is, since this is in the thousands, you keep that number the same and you replace the rest with 0, and that will give you its value. Okay, now number 6, they're switching some things up on us. What would be the value of the digit from problem 4. So now we're using the number 5, but it's saying if that was in the hundreds place. So if the 5 moved to the hundreds place, what would it be worth? It no longer would be 5,000 because it's in the hundreds place. So what would it be worth, that 5? What do you think, Sophia? If
500?
this 5, what, honey?
Is it 500?
It is 500. 500. Okay, so that was kind of a review of the basics. Now we're going to look at some patterns. Number 7 said, find the next 2 numbers in the following pattern. We're going to have Sophia, Peyton, Trace, Nina read each of those numbers. We're going to take turns. Sophia, read that big number for us.
600,000.
Peyton,
60,000.
Trace,
6,000.
and Nina.
600.
Great reading of numbers. Okay, Olivia, that leaves you. So now, when you look at those numbers going from one place in the pattern to the next, what do you notice are happening every time we move to the right?
It gets lower.
It gets smaller. What do you know? What's actually being eliminated with every move to the right?
A 0.
A 0. So Olivia, what do you think is going to come after 600?
60.
And then Olivia, can you do one more? What would our last number in our pattern be?
6.
6. Very good. So now they want us to take these numbers and put them in the place value chart. So the very first one, we take 600,000 and we're putting them in each column that it represents each value and each number. So in 600,000, there are 600,000s, 0 10,000s, 0 thousands, 0 hundreds, 0 tens, and 0 ones. So now I'm going to call on you guys. We'll go in the reverse order this time. We'll start with Olivia, and I'm going to move Olivia to Nina to Trace to Peyton to Sophia. You're going to tell me what number is going to go in each of these spots. So Olivia, you're going to do 60,000. In the number 60,000, how many 100,000s are there? Or actually, let's do it this way. Where do I put my 6? Under which heading for 60,000?
10,000.
So we're going to leave this blank because we don't have any 100,000s. So now, Olivia, how many thousands are in 60,000?
0. Wait.
Hundreds?
0.
You have a question, honey? No? Okay. Tens
0.
and ones.
0.
Good. Okay, the next number is 6,000. That's going to go here. Nina, where do you want me to put the 6? Under which heading for 6,000?
You put it under the 1,000.
Because we don't have any 100,000s or 10,000s. How many hundreds do we have?
0.
Tens?
0.
Ones.
0.
Great job. Okay, now we have 60. Oh, I skipped 600. 600's coming here. And Trace, you're on for 600. Where would I put my 6?
Under the hundreds.
And then how many 10s do I have?
0.
And ones.
0.
Nicely done. Now we'll move on to 60. Peyton, where do I put my 6 in the number 60?
In the 10th place.
And ones?
In the 0.
Nice job. And my last number 6, Sophia, where do I put the number 6?
In the ones.
You are correct. So now, back here, we need to do some thinking. And I'm going to read these questions, but I'm going to leave the chart up for those of you who don't have one at home. But number 9 asks you to look at the problems in number 8. So we're going to look at these. And we want to think of one thing that is the same about all of these numbers and one thing that is different. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to work. I'm going to set my timer on my watch. I'll come back in 1 minute and I'll let you share with me one thing that's the same about these numbers and one thing that's different. Do you have any questions? Okay, you have 60 seconds to work. Go ahead. Okay, would anyone like to share one similarity with all of those numbers? Anything you found that was similar? Olivia?
I forget what I was gonna say.
Okay, let me know if it comes back to you. Anyone find anything similar with all those numbers? Peyton?
They all had 1 6.
There's a 6 in every number. Very good. What about something? Anyone have anything else they want to share? Okay, how about difference? What's different about all the numbers? Sophia?
They're all a different amount.
They're all a different amount. Very good. Anyone else? Peyton, something different?
Each of them have a different amount of zeros.
Right, and even 6. Does 6 have any zeros? No zeros in 6. Anyone else have anything to share? Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Number 10. Now this one's a really neat problem. We're going to complete the ways to show all the ways you can make the number 2079. So if we were at school and we had base 10 blocks, this one would probably be the easiest because we have thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. So we would have the big cubes, the flats, the longs, and the ones. So we want to represent the number 2079. So if I know that the big cube is the 1,000, the flats 100, the long is 10, and the little cube is 1. How many thousands, how many big cubes would I need to make the number 2079? How many big cubes for this number? Good. Peyton?
2. We need 2.
Peyton, how about how many hundreds are in 2079?
0.
Tens?
There's 7 tens.
And how about ones?
9.
Very good. Now, if you look at this next line, what's the difference between this question and this one? What have they eliminated? Sophia?
They eliminated the ones.
No.
Wait, no, not the ones. Sorry, the thousands. That's what I meant.
So they're saying you can't use the big cube anymore. You can only use flats, longs, and cubes. So here's a little trick that we thought of last year when we started doing this, something to make it a little easier. So since we're starting with hundreds, that's our biggest place value, I'm going to underline the digit in the hundredth place. Nina, in the number 2079, which digit is in the hundreds place?
20, 20 hundreds.
No. Well, you're correct. There are 20 hundreds, but 2, 0, 7, or 9. Only one of those places is the hundreds. Which one? Which digit?
The 0.
The 0. So if I underline the 0, and if I draw a box around everything to the left, that's what, Nina, that's also what you just said, that there are 20 hundreds. So you have to have more flats now since they've gotten rid of the big cube. So to make this number, we have 20 hundreds. Sophia, how many tens?
7 tens,
And how many ones, honey?
9 ones.
9. Very good. Okay, Trace, on this next one, they've eliminated the hundreds, so we only have tens and ones. Which digit in this number is the tens place?
200.
Hold on 1 second. Listen to my question, honey. The 2, the 0, the 7, or the 9. Which one of those is just the tens place? Which digit is in the tens? So if you look at this chart, then we have, very good. So the 7. So I'm going to underline the 7, and I'm going to box in everything to the left. That tells me how many tens I need. So how many tens do I need to make 2,079? Look at what I've boxed in.
207.
Very good. 207 tens. So that would be taking 207 longs. That's a lot of longs. And that would make the same as 20 hundreds, which would make the same as 2,007 tens. You're taking all of those and you're putting them into one group. Okay, so Trace, if I take 207 tens away, how many ones do I still need?
9.
Yep. Okay, and Peyton, you have the last one. Here we have just ones. So if we had to make 2,079 with all single little cubes, how many would we need?
2079.
Very good. 2,079 small cubes. Okay, now we get to the fun part, the riddles. So you're going to solve these riddles, and if you need to show your work, you can do it on the paper you have in front of you, or if you have scratch paper. So I have 18 ones, 15 hundreds, 15 tens, and 8,000s. What number am I? Where should we start here? We'll do one together, and then I'll let you do the second one on your own. There's all kind of different strategies. Earlier, I had people in our face-to-face class that went through and they put together all their ones first and all their tens and hundreds and then added those together. Does anyone have a strategy that you use at home or that you're thinking of that you want to use together? I kind of like I like to look at it piece by piece, figure out what it equals, and then add them up. So I have 18 ones. How much is 18 ones? Anyone know? 18 ones. That'd be 18 little cubes. What does it equal? Go ahead, Peyton.
8 long, 1 long and 8 cubes.
You're correct, but I just want to know the value. So 18 ones equals what number?
18.
18. So I'm going to write 18 here. Then I have 15 hundreds. So if I have 15 flats, what number is that? $15 flats would be what number?
150.
No, you're close. You're one place value short, Trace. So if you have 150, think one flat equals 100. So we're going to have 15 of those.
1,500.
Very good. So I'm going to put 1,500 over here. Now I have 15 tens. Nina, what base 10 block represents a 10?
Long.
So if I have 15 longs, Nina, what number does that represent? 15 longs.
1,000. Wait,
No. It would be like counting by tens 15 times.
150.
Very good. So I'm going to add my 150. And then, Sophia, I haven't heard from you in a little while. 8,000. So that would be like 8 big cubes. What number is 8 big cubes? How much is 1 big cube?
1,000. Wait, yeah,
So if I have-
1,000.
Yep. So if I have 8 of them, what does that equal?
8,000.
I'm going to put 8,000 here. What am I going to do with all of these numbers to find my total? Olivia, what am I going to do with all of these numbers to find my total?
You're going to add them up.
All right, Olivia, you're going to add them up for us. So let's start in the ones. What's 8 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0?
8,
1 plus 0 plus 5 plus 0?
6,
Look how nice and neat I have all my numbers lined up by place value. It's really helpful. 5 plus 1 plus 0?
6,
And 1 plus 8.
9,
So, Olivia, the answer to my riddle is what number?
9,668.
Very good. Everyone see how we got that? Any questions so far? Okay, the next one. I have 14 tens, 6 hundreds, 7 10,000s, and 15 ones. What number am I? Okay, I'm going to let you guys try this one. Whenever you have an answer, do you guys still have, well, we won't get them out, maybe in the future. Did everyone pick up a whiteboard when you guys were at school? When you got your materials? You guys have one of the whiteboards and your toolkit with the markers? Okay, so maybe eventually we'll be using those too. But whatever you have, whatever kind of paper you have in front of you, see if you can figure out what number has 14 tens, 6 hundreds, 7 10,000s, and 15 ones. When you're ready to share your answer, put your hand up. Okay, keep your hand up if you would like to share what you did. Okay, we'll start at the top and I'll work my way down. Sophia, go ahead and explain your strategy that you used, what you did to solve.
I did multiplication.
Okay.
So I multiplied 14 times 10, and I got 140, and then 6 times 100, and then 600. 7 times 10,000, I got 70,000, and then 15 times 1 is, and then I got 15, and then I added all the answers up, and I got 70,755.
Great. Did anyone use a different strategy that they would like to share? Okay. All right, last thing. Try it another way. What number is 10,000 less than 842,719? What is 10,000 less? Peyton?
832,719.
How did you get your answer, Peyton? You're correct.
I did subtraction.
What did you subtract?
I subtracted 842,719 minus 100,000.
Minus 100,000?
I mean 10,000. I mean 10.
If you did do minus 100,000, do you know what your answer would be then? One number.
700. It would be 742,719.
Instead of your 10,000s place changing, it would have been your 100,000. Okay, last one. What number is 1,000 more than 700,012? Go ahead, Sophia.
It's 7,000. No, 71.
Remember, honey, chunk
Seven-
those three together.
Sorry, 7. 7.
Let's try this. Read me your digits. 7, 0.
7, 1. And then 0, 1, 2.
Okay, now, Sophia, when I say chunk it, I mean just read. 701 is what number?
700,000. Wait,
Yep,
700.
701.
7. Do you want 7? Wait,
How do you read this number?
7.
Pretend like that's the only thing on the paper. How would you read that?
7. Wait, 701,000.
Yep, so 701, and then this comma tells you 1,000, and then you read these three numbers.
Yeah. And 12.
Well,
7.
701,012. Go ahead and put it all together.
701,012. 12.
Without the and.
Yeah, sorry. 701,012.
Very good, very good. So, and a lot of people don't know this, and I even catch my husband saying it, and I correct him, and he gets mad, but I say, I only know this just because it's what I teach in 4th grade. But you shouldn't say and when you're reading numbers like this, these big numbers. You put the and in when we start doing decimals. But a lot of people would say 701,012 or 701,000. Try to get out of the habit of saying the word and. It's a lot of people do that. Okay, so we just did a ton of place value practice. Do you have any questions? Anything you're confused about? Okay, so let me get my notebook so we see where we're going from here. Okay, so tomorrow, and I'll post this on the dojo so that you guys have this. Tomorrow I'm going to try to figure out how to put this on my Schoology too. So tomorrow's Wednesday, right? So that means there'll be no kids face-to-face in school. So tomorrow from 11 to 11:30, we're having something called a Lion Social. It's just for anyone from 4th grade. I think Mrs. Thomas will have one, and I'll have one for our homerooms on a Zoom link, just so you guys can kind of get to know one another, just see who's in your classroom. And then I have office hours tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So when you get in your Wednesday folder and you're starting to work on your Wednesday questions, if there's anything you're confused about, this Zoom link, the same one that's on the Schoology page, you can click on it anytime between 1 and 2. And there might be other kids in there with questions. So if you come in later or if someone else is getting help, then just try to be patient. But I'll be there to answer questions for you about the math that you're working on, or if you're having trouble maybe finding any kind of links or finding any pages that you're supposed to be doing, I'll be available to help you guys from 1. I'm trying to keep my time every day of the week, 1 o'clock for math, so that you just don't get confused with all the different times. Okay? Everyone good? Good to see everyone. I'm glad you guys came. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
I just wanted to ask, when is the Lion Social thing tomorrow?
That's going to be on tomorrow, on Wednesday at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
11 a.m., not p.m. I'll be in bed. Okay, well, if you guys have any questions between today or tomorrow, go ahead and email me, or if your parents have questions, have them send me a dojo. I will put a reminder on dojo about the meetings, and hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow. If you need anything, I'll be the last one to leave. So if you need to stay on to ask me any questions, if not, have a good rest of your day.
Dakota said hi.
Hi. If you don't have any questions, you go ahead and leave the meeting. I'll be the last to go.